Hello, welcome to Mr. Lamb Science Corner. Today we've got one of my, if not the favorite demos. I've got one that might possibly be more, but I'm not sure how I'm going to set that one up. So this may be the best one ever of all the demos that we have. And I saw this one on The Tonight Show. Jimmy Fallon, I believe, is the guy in charge right now, but before that was Jay Leno, and before that was Johnny Carson. So as I'm growing up, it was Johnny Carson for, 20-some years. And he had Dom DeLuise on, who, again, is probably dating myself, but he was a comedian. And he did a demo, and he did this with at least 6 eggs. And I've never been brave, I'll tell you right now, I've never been brave enough to do that with 6 eggs. But it degenerated into throwing eggs at everybody and like this. But I thought it would be a great demo. So I tried to do what he did. And you always practice demos ahead of time. You do them by yourself, so you find out all these things. And this demo is a good reason why. I'll tell you why. Because it has one little thing that you need to know. So you start off with the glass. Now I like the Coke glass because it's nice and wide at the top. But any wide glass on the top. A pie pan. This one's a pretty substantial pie pan, and I bought it at the Dollar Tree, so it cost me $1. And then a cup, and we'll talk about this in just a minute, and an egg. So this is an inertia demonstration in that we're going to put the egg up on top of, I'll do this in a minute, but I want to show you something. I'll put the egg up here, and we're going to knock this stuff out of the way, and it's going to drop down into the water because it has a lot of mass to it, and it's not going to want to travel very much. Whereas these things are lighter, and they'll travel much easier. Now, there are a couple of things I learned, and my wife, who is the camera person, can attest to this, that a long time ago, when I first started out teaching, many years ago, well, 40 years ago, that's when I saw this demo, and I decided to try it at home, and I killed probably a dozen eggs learning how to do this. So I'm gonna help you shortcut it, so maybe you won't have to kill quite as many eggs. First of all, don't boil the egg. I know you're gonna want to boil the egg because it's less messy. Trust me, in those dozen eggs, a bunch of them, not all of them, but a bunch of them were boiled. And they were pretty easy to clean up, but it never worked. The raw eggs, there was something else that needed to happen, but which I'll show you in just a second. But even though they were very messy to clean up, eventually it worked. So raw egg, okay? And then here's where it really is important. You need a cup. And a 3-ounce cup or a 5-ounce cup, it really doesn't matter. But probably not any bigger than that. Now, I'm holding it like this because we're going to put the egg on top of that. And this doesn't have a whole lot of lip to it, but it has some. And that's important. Because what's going to happen is that the cup and the pan are going to move out of the way, and then the egg is going to be left here, and of course then it's going to drop down into the water. The reason it's important is that that lip will give a little push to the egg, so that when this goes flying out of the way, then that lip is going to push the egg just enough to break it on the lip of this glass. Now if you had a bigger glass, it probably would be okay. But what I did, instead of trying to find a bigger glass and get it all set, is to take my knife and I'm showing that I can't really sharpen knives. Yeah, I can't. Well, that's an ugly way of doing it. And if I was doing this for myself and doing it in front of students, I'd make it a little prettier. I'd find a sharper knife, is what I'd do. Okay, but I'm just giving you the idea. So you want to trim away the lip, set this down so that when this moves, it's a smooth exit for the egg. The egg is going to sit here and it's just going to move very smoothly. And then you need to set this to where it's set very nicely. And you put the egg on top. And you double check, because it's really delicate and you want to make sure you have it in the right spot. And then it depends on how you want to do it. I've always done it with a broom, and you take the broom and you kind of step on the thing and you pull it back and you let it go, and it whacks this right here, in which case I would need to turn it around, because remember, you want the lip not to hit the egg. But the broom that I have available is one that it's made out of nylon. I find the corn broom works best, but I don't have one right now. I have one of those nylon brooms, and when I pull it back and let it goes off into different directions and it misses the thing. So I'm going to tell you that what happened is that when I was subbing, it was in between jobs, and I subbed for a while, and this one teacher I knew, and I said, well, I'm subbing for you in physics. Can I do this demo? Because you're talking about inertia, and this really works out well. And he said, sure, go ahead, no problem. And so I got it all set up. I came in, did the whole thing, got all set up, pulled the broom back, let go, and it missed. And in my excitement, I reached for the thing, and I hit the pan with my hand, and it dropped in just perfect. And the students all thought that I had planned it, and I didn't let them know that it was by accident. I just smiled and I took a bow, because sometimes that's the way demos work. And if it does, and it worked, take a bow. Okay? So now, for the first time ever, but of course if this doesn't work, it'll never make the cut, and it won't be put out. But I'm going to just hit this and see what happens. because I don't have a broom. If it doesn't work, we'll redo it and I'll go find a broom. Okay? So we've got all ready. We've got the egg set there straight over the water. Okay? And you may wonder what the water is there for. It's to slow the egg down, because if it just fell down into the cup, it would break when it hit the bottom. Hopefully the water will cushion the blow and slow it down, and it will just rest nicely at the bottom. Okay? Pie pans. This one is a little bit higher metal concentration. Should be okay, especially since I'm not going to hit it really hard with a broom. One of the foil pie pans work well, but they're going to get beat up, especially if you use a broom. So if you use a broom, I would get a stronger pie pan, kind of like this one, because you're going to want to do this over and over and over again. I know that in elementary school you won't be doing it nearly as many times as secondary, because in secondary you're going to probably want to do it several times each year. Elementary, probably only once. But still, how many times are you going to do it? You know, I had a 39-year career. Maybe you go only 30 years. Okay, that's still, how many pie pans do you want to buy? Maybe this way you spend $1, you only have to buy one. So anyway, let's try this, and we'll put a little drum roll in here, and we'll go just like that. And there it is. It's let's see. Oh, and it did get a little bit cracked, I think. I don't know if they can show it or not, but it did get cracked. But it is a raw egg. And the glass is perfectly fine.